FLM, wide open thinking, world-class work, and far-reaching results. Now with locations in Minneapolis, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. A strategic marketing and communications company dedicated to serving clients who specialize in the business of agriculture and the life of rural communities.
Congressman Rick Allen from Georgia's 12th District, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, Spencer.
First of all, can you tell us about your district and the kinds of agriculture in it?
Well, we have 18 counties in our district. It's once you get below Augusta, it's all rural, and we have timber. Obviously, is a big part of our district, and then our crops: cotton, soybeans. Of course, we have Vidalia onions, blueberries, corn. A big variety of crops, but great district, great farm district.
Now, you defeated a 5-term incumbent to get to Washington. Now, with that in mind, how do you plan on staying here?
Well, we work very hard at what we're doing, and we are doing, let's just talk about the farm side of things. We are monitoring the farm bill with our farmers to make sure that they, number one, understand it, because it is difficult to understand, and the other thing is to make sure it's being implemented properly, to give our farmers some certainty and that sort of thing. But we have an excellent staff, we have excellent constituent services, and we're doing the right thing. I mean, if you look at the legislation that the 114th Congress has put forward so far, it's just what America wants.
And I understand your father was a farmer. What can you tell us about your own personal experiences just within agriculture?
Well, grew up on a farm. We were in the dairy business. We then got in the cattle business, hay, and timber. Family's still involved in timber, my cousins, and so I know a lot about the farm. The farm teaches so many things. Obviously, the value of hard work, the fact that you always help your neighbor. You know, we always shared. If somebody was a little short, we would help them out. My dad was kind of a large animal. He wasn't a vet, but he took care of the large animals everywhere. And then the other thing is, you never ask anybody to do something you weren't willing to do yourself. And those are real important traits to learn, and I learned those on the farm.
Now, with that in mind, how do you plan to use those lessons, and what do you hope to accomplish on the House Agriculture Committee?
Well, we're working on a lot of things in ag. One of the things that we're doing is we're looking at a bill to move the migrant worker program from the Department of Labor to the Department of Agriculture. We're getting good response on that bill. We're monitoring this orders of the U.S. Regulatory overreach from EPA, and we're looking at a bill right now coming out of transportation dealing with that. We're also looking at how can we provide more certainty for our farmers in their products, and we're looking at everything that affects agriculture. The things that our farmers are most concerned about, obviously, is government overreach, EPA and other agencies. They need labor. They need some crop insurance, some insurance, and they need some certainty in their pricing, and those are the kind of things that we're working on.
Now, you also serve on the Education and Workforce Committee,
Yep.
and why is that committee relevant to your district?
I've been in the business world for 37 years, and I know a lot about the needs of the business community as far as the workforce is concerned. And I did work quite a bit in education as well. My wife taught school, my mother taught school, my sister's a school teacher today, so I get a little feedback from them about education. So, and we got a lot of work to do on education as far as the future workers of this country. Somehow we've got to tie together the needs of the workforce and the interest of the students so that they can hit their sweet spot and get the right kind of education. And when they finish that education, then they can get a good job.
Now, earlier you mentioned some of the migrant worker provisions that you're working on with House Agri-Culture. How does that entail, or how does that relate to work that you can do within the workforce side of the Education and Workforce Committee?
Well, as far as the migrant worker program, that's more of a subcontract, and that's dealing with, like I said, onions, blueberries, any types of fruits or vegetables. You don't necessarily have an education as far as those programs are concerned. Those are mostly folks that they're just trying to make a living. As far as education is concerned, what we want to do, at least from the farm standpoint, and you'll see this, when you look at the yields and everything that our farmers are doing from a technical standpoint, that's what education is about. Labor will always be, an issue. And the country's always solved our labor problems with, migrant workers.
Now, earlier you mentioned your business experience, and you run, I believe it was a construction company for 37 years, as you mentioned. How do you compare running that business to being an elected representative for your district?
It's very different. Running the business was, once you understood exactly what your vision in your business and your market and who you wanted to serve, then you just go do the very best job you can do. Here, the vision, we have a vision in our group here, but you've got lots of other different interests here in Washington. And so you've got to build consensus. And so far, I've been able to do a lot of that on committees. We've been very successful in getting a lot of legislation through, but in business you make decisions like this, just quick decisions. Up here it just takes a little longer.
So with that in mind, if you could change one thing about Congress, just in the short couple of months that you've been here, if you could change one thing about Congress, what would it be?
I think people who serve in the United States Congress need real-world experience. They need to understand, that we must be fiscal, and we must be responsible as far as fiscal matters are concerned. Unfortunately, there's some folks here that really don't understand that. And those are the kind of things that, that's the reason I ran for Congress, is because, I'm concerned about the future of our children and grandchildren. And I want to leave a nation that is better than when I got that nation from my parents and grandparents. And my parents and grandparents left us a great nation. And I think we have the responsibility to pass it on.
Congressman Rick Allen from Georgia's 12th District, thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.